Today, I want to show you how you can use Protolyst to build habits. And there are some habits that you might be building which will involve a constant learning loop, whether you're going out and actively researching information and coming back and sorting through it and deciding which bits you want to add into your habit, or you're coming across them a little bit more spontaneously. Either way, you're going to want to make sure that you don't forget or just lose those bits of info somewhere in your system. So let's have a look at how you can start to use your atoms to make sure that you don't forget any tips or advice to apply to your habit. So I'm going to go through two examples, both of which have been heavily inspired by my own personal workflows. One of those is building a writing habit and the other is working out. So for the writing habit, I opted into a 30-day challenge where I would write for 30 minutes every day. So I wanted to make sure that I had an idea bank easy to access and ready to go, so that when I sat down to write, I didn't have to think about what I should be writing about. For this writing flow, I'm using a table, kept it really simple here with just name and atoms. You could add further properties if you wanted, like date, but I use a new row for each writing session. And each row in the table can be opened up as its own page, so I can write into each of these pages. And I can open up my idea list or bank of atoms by clicking on this button, and I'll get all of them listing here ready for me to use. And I can drag and drop them into this atoms property, and that allows me to have that atom to hand and even sometimes pre-allocate some of these ideas to different writing sessions. And I can jump into the page, open it up, and just start writing. And when it comes to building that idea bank and collecting those atoms and adding them in so that they'll be there ready and waiting for me when the writing session comes around, I do that one of two main ways. I will have Protolyst open most of the day, of course. So as I come across something that I want to add into the ideas bank, I either jump straight into this page and add it manually as an atom, or I might add the whole source into my workspace and go through and capture several atoms from that source. And as I capture that atom, I add a tag so that that piece of info will display in my atoms list over in that page where I'm doing my writing. And so that gives you a bit of a taster of the flow, but what really moved the dial for me here was having the atoms list there ready waiting with a load of ideas for me to just pluck and use and start writing around. So I didn't have to think about what I was doing and it was all there ready to go. And then for the workouts flow, what I'm doing is actually collecting bits of information that I want to use to improve my workouts. So rather than ideas, it's more the advice and tips so that I don't completely forget about them and can actually apply some of the things that I'm learning in my next workout. So rather than just saving it somewhere, putting it somewhere where it's then visible and you can easily see it when you want to apply it has been a real game changer for me actually using that knowledge. So whenever I come across a piece of info that I want to use in my next workout, I add it into my Protolyst workspace, save it next to the workout in which I can use it, and then next time I set up my tracker with all the info for my workout, that nugget of info is automatically there. I haven't got to remember it and I haven't got to go off and find it saved in some app somewhere on my phone. So to set up something similar to the writing flow I just walked through, you're going to want to create a table, and this will be for your 30 for 30 or whatever you want to call your writing table. This will be where you'll do all your writing. And I'm going to delete the subpages property. So we've just got the name and the atoms. And I'm then going to create another table for sources. So this will be where any of the information that you come across that you want to hold on to and perhaps go through and collect all of the ideas from will sit. And again, I'm going to delete that subpages property. So let's grab a source and I'm going to throw it in here into the name for this row. And then I'm going to jump in and open up that page. And because this is a newsletter online, I'm going to select web page and then import. And this will pull a version of the article into my workspace for me to go through and capture atoms from. Okay, there we go. So it's pulled in all the info. So as I'm going through and I come across the ideas that are interesting, I can highlight them and then select capture atom. And then this is quite a small workspace. I've only got those 2 pages here in the sidebar. But what I'm going to do is link this atom to my 30 for 30 writing table so that the idea will start to build up in that atom list, which I can open and then drag and drop into the page and use as a writing prompt. So let's start typing that out. Choose that. There we go. So if I jump back into the sources table, see in the atoms property, that atom I just captured is here. And if I go back into the 30 for 30 kind of writing table and open up this atoms menu, that atom which we just linked or tagged or labeled or connected to this page is now displaying here. So I can drag and drop it into this box, and I use this as a way of allocating the ideas that I had to a particular day for me to write about. So to do that writing in the page, you can hover over the row until this open button appears, click that one, and you'll be given the page setup interface. So we're going to choose text editor, and then you're ready to just type into the page. And much like we did earlier, I'm going to open up that atoms menu and drop the atom into the page so that it's there for me to mull over and write around. But this has been very useful for me to not get distracted going off and finding something that I want to write about, and it helps me to, prep the page so there's actually something in there and I'm not having to deal with overcoming the blank page. And then for any ideas which are sparked which I don't go through that process of adding them into my workspace, I come into this 30 for 30 table, open up that atoms menu, and then I manually add an atom. So I do that plus button, new atom, and then just type in whatever that thought was that I want to expand upon and explore in a writing session. Okay, so let's talk about the workouts one. So workouts I set up again as a table. We're working in tables a lot here. So I'm gonna add a title, and then I'm doing a push, pull, legs split. So this is going to be like my resource bank for all of the information that I come across which I want to use and apply into any of these particular workouts. And so I do a bit of a mixture here where I add in the specific nugget of info that I want to remember. Or if there's something that I've come across which I might want to go back to and re-watch or reread, then I add the source straight into this subpages for the relevant workout. So as an example, this video here, I will grab the link, jump back into my workspace, add it as a subpage here. And this is a YouTube video, so actually if we do web import, it will extract a transcript and embed a version of the video into the page. So you could go through the transcript until you've got that piece of information you wanted to add, or you could manually add an atom that's connected to this page. So I wanted to add something about the body position. So I've added that one in, and it is linked to this page and video. So when I jump back into the workouts table, you can see that the page that I created with the video in it is displaying here. And then I've also got the atom, which I added in that page, displaying here for the push workout. So all of the research and ideas are going to go in this table. And then I'm also going to set up a table to track the workouts. I'm going to delete this, I'm going to change this subpages property to a linked table. And then we're going to link it to that workouts table that we were just adding info into. Update this. And we're going to change the inheritance to inherit the atoms from workouts. So all of the nuggets of info that we're collecting and capturing as atoms over in that other table, if we inherit those, they will also display for the relevant workouts in this table. So I'm going to inherit atoms from workouts. And so now if I set up a page for each of my workouts, I can then assign them as the relevant workout. And as I do that, because we're inheriting the atoms, all of the relevant nuggets of info that I've been saving are going to display here. So I can very quickly see the information that I've collected for my legs workout is to hand, and it's ready for me to refresh on it and actually apply it to whatever exercise I'm doing that day. So let's add in the exercises. So here's an example capture of all of the workout that I did. And as I then come back to do the workout in future, I can duplicate this page. So it takes all of the info in that row from my previous session and adds it into this new row. So we can update that to be push 2. And then we've got the tips and advice and info that we want to implement still there, as well as that record of what we did last time to update. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of inspiration for how you might be able to use atoms to keep important info more visible to help you with building your habits.